Hello, everyone. Cherries Red Army, another match preview. And is there a better way to start a football weekend than with a Friday night under the lights at Dean Court? Bournemouth take on Nottingham Forest, another huge game.
Textbook. Brooks over on the far side now for the Cherries, trying to get some energy into their forward play. Little link up with Billing, that's nice. And now David Brooks into the box, shoots into the back of the net. David Brooks. It was Solanke, in fact, with the link up, and David Brooks fired it across Samba, and it nestled in the left-hand side of the goal. Two-angled ball, this one, as it's flipped in by Zinkernagel, headed towards goal and down and in. Scott McKenna with a downward header. Here, who are much revered as the ball is inside the Forest half. Billing, left-hand side now. Anthony inside the left corner of the penalty. Plays it back to Phil Billing, who smashes it into the back of the net. And Phil Billing scores for the third successive game, right in front of those travelling Bournemouth fans.
I've got Aaron Kaye with me, and I tell you what, Aaron, breaking news. Cherries Red Army, we've gone past 800 subscribers, and in a week of Valentine's and love, we do appreciate all the support we get, don't we?
Yeah, no, it's brilliant news. It's a great milestone. It seems like only yesterday we were at 500. So yeah, no, it's great. It's great that everybody watches. Hope everyone keeps enjoying the content, and here's to 1,000, hopefully.
Fantastic. So lots of stuff to talk about. Let's just crack on with it, shall we? And go back to the weekend. It was Bournemouth 2, Blackpool 1. Before we talk about the late show and 3 points, team lineups, we were unsure what sort of players we'd have available. There was some rumours going around about Kiefer Moore. We didn't know if Ryan Christie was going to be fit after he came off early midweek prior to that game. But yeah, the lineup was as it was, and Lewis Cook came in for Lerma. But what was your thoughts ahead of that game against Blackpool?
Yeah, obviously disappointed not to see Ryan Christie. I think we all assumed he probably wasn't going to be fit enough, having come off just 3 days earlier. So that was disappointing because he's been an integral player for us. And then obviously the news about Kiefer Moore came through, and he wasn't even in the bench, and might come onto that in a bit, which was really disappointing. But I think the only real question mark for a lot of people, given those injuries, was who was going to start instead of Jefferson Lerma. And Lewis Cook got the nod. Personally, I would have chosen Ben Pearson for that game. I think he's better at breaking up the play, a bit more of a physical presence, especially in the kind of wind and rain away at Blackpool. But having said that, Lewis Cook got the nod and was absolutely superb. So hold my hands up there.
Blackpool did take the lead, though, in this game, but that was after a missed penalty by Dom Solanke. He is one goal away from a serious milestone of 20 league goals. And Josh Bowler, he scored a very, very good goal, player we were apparently in for in the transfer window. But yeah, we did go behind. And I must admit, Aaron, when we did go behind, I thought, oh no, now we've got to break them down and try and get back into the game.
Yeah, it's always difficult. We always struggle throughout this whole season when we've gone behind in games, and it's a cliche in football, but the first goal is always really, really important. Yeah, I mean, less said about that penalty, the better. I think I said in my post-match thoughts that, you know, when you miss a penalty, taking it, and that's far passionate, it doesn't look great. But Dom's been doing that. He's scored a few penalties already this season, and obviously plenty of goals. So, he can't really get on his back too much. I'd like to see him put his foot through it next time. And it was a turning point in the game, or so it seemed at the time. And yeah, Josh Bowler, fantastic strike. Nothing anyone could do about that. So you just have to hold your hands up to that. But yeah, with their crowd really behind them, not many teams have got points at Bloomfield Road this season. I did fear for us at that stage, yeah.
but we were chasing the game. It got late in the day, and Jamal Lowe, he's had impact moments this season. I've praised him for that. I want a little bit more out of Lowe when he does get a start, but he took his finish well. Would we then come away from that with a point? It probably would have been a good point at the start of the day. Like you said, some teams have struggled to go to Bloomfield Road and take away 3 points, but Dembele, someone that I was excited about, definitely wanted to see him hit the ground running. With potentially Christie out now for a while, he has the option to play games, attack a fullback, and he took it. The last kick of the game, potentially, and he gave us a win 2-1.
Yeah, it was kind of, payback for Coventry, payback for Luton. I was at both of those games, and it's a sickening feeling when you concede in the last minute, whether it's an equaliser or a losing goal. So obviously wasn't at Blackpool. I can only imagine the limbs that was there during that. But yeah, to do it for a change, it always swings and roundabouts. You get these moments in the season, and for it was our turn. The 5th minute of injury time, pretty much the last kick of the game, to win a game that we probably didn't deserve to win. But I still felt a draw was probably a fair result overall. I thought we had a lot of the play, but didn't do a huge amount with it. But yeah, Dembele really, really excites me, I have to say. He's not a youngster. He's got plenty of experience. And one thing he does offer us, unlike Ryan Christie and Jayden Anthony as well, to some degree, is that ability to glide past a player, to take someone on with raw pace and skill. He's got both of those in his locker. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, because I think if Ryan Christie and Kiefer Moore had been fit, Jamal Lowe wouldn't have even been on the bench, probably. Emi Marcondes wouldn't have been on the bench, and he was pivotal. A lot's been said about Dembele's goal, but there's something about that pass from Marcondes. Though it looks a simple pass, it was angled so to perfection. It was right in front of him, so he didn't have to break stride, and it was just the right pace. So great for Emi and for Jamal Lowe, but they had a real impact. But yeah, Dembele for me looks a real deal.
What I also loved at the end there, just from my point of view, is some fans have said that maybe Scott Parker lacks character. And at the end, when we did score that second goal and everyone went towards the dugouts, even Scott Parker and the coaching team got involved, and there's lots of smiles. And that's now 3 wins for the Cherries in a row in the league. So positive stuff as we go into this game. Let's look at our opposition then, Aaron. They look a pretty good outfit nowadays under Cooper. It was a 2-2 draw, and that was a late goal for Forest against Stoke at home. But how do you feel about Forest this season?
Well, I mean, they started dreadfully, didn't they? I mean, we were there at the City Ground, winning with a team of kids. Chris Hughton, who had a lot of experience in this league. They got off to a dreadful start. I think it was obviously 4 defeats in a row. I think it was 1 point from 7 games, something like that. Anyway, I mean, they were real, relegation fodder and playing really poorly. And then obviously they brought in Steve Cooper, who we know did a great job at Swansea last year. Is a very progressive manager, a really, really, tactical nous about him, and he's totally turn them around to the extent that it's not a case of just keeping them up. They are, I would say, probably a shoe-in for the playoffs and an outside chance of potentially catching us and Fulham. They are the form team, although they didn't win, as you say. They drew with Stoke, but they still, even with that, their keeper and with 10 men, they were the ones who actually got the equaliser. So they are full of confidence. They destroyed Leicester City, a strong Leicester team in the FA Cup a couple of weeks before. They won at Blackburn 2-0. So they are full of confidence. It's going to be a very, very difficult test for us.
They do win more games on the road from what I've seen as well. And Cooper got Swansea into the playoffs. So it wouldn't be too wrong if he did do the job again, and there's going to be loads of teams fighting for those playoff places, and hopefully we'll already be up by then. But yeah, there's some good players in their team, but they'll be missing their goalkeeper, who had a moment to forget. I mean, it was almost like Saturday night fight night. You may have seen it on the highlights, but he got sent off for reacting to an attacker trying to stop him kicking the ball out after collecting it. So yeah, they won't have Samba.
Yeah, it was a really strange one. I mean, not only did he try to knock the guy out, he gave a penalty away in the process and took himself out the next 3 games. So I don't, and even it looked to me that the forward, whoever it was, didn't even do that much. So a moment of absolute madness. But yeah, we'll take that. Obviously, I'm sure they're their reserve goalkeeper is capable enough. So I'm not sure how much of a difference it will make, but it's always good to have a not their first choice goalkeeper in goal for sure. And I think I've got a feeling Lewis Graben's still out injured, which will be a bonus for us. I'm not sure how long he's out for, but I'm pretty sure he won't be back for this game. But they've got players all over the pitch who'll hurt you. The one who really worries me and really is impressive is Spence, who's on loan from Middlesbrough. Very funny loan signing since obviously they're both going for the same promotion target. But yeah, he's a real live wire. But they've got players all over the pitch in the centre of the park, experience with Colback, energy with Garner. And up front, actually, without Lewis Graben being there, they've got Keenan Davis, someone who we've been linked with over the past few months. A real physical presence, but can also run in behind as well, and he looks a real handful. So yeah, it's gonna be, as I said, a very, very tough game.
I think it is 1 loss in 6 for Nottingham Forest. Focusing back on Bournemouth then, and we're going to go into the predicted 11 very, very soon. But as we spoke about, there are injuries now to Kiefer Moore. He's going to have surgery on a broken foot. I mean, I didn't even see what might have happened in that Birmingham game when he came on for a cameo, but apparently it was a jump for a header and he landed on it, and he's going to be out. Ryan Christie seeing a specialist. Ledge trying to get over some niggly injuries, but hopefully back in training. Lerma's out for 3 games. This bloated squad, Aaron, it's looking a bit stretched again.
Well, that's why we needed it, I guess. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we got away with the one of the Jeff's 4 has been ticked off with 3 points already, so that's a bonus. And obviously, he'll be back in 3 games. Kiefer Moore's a real blow for me because yes, he obviously hasn't started. We won without him, I get that, and even against Birmingham, we didn't obviously need him for the win. But he's that. I hesitate to call it a plan B, but whatever you want to call it, a different option that we bought in, for a reasonable amount of money to play and to change a game or to start if we need to mix things up. And once again, that's now been taken away from us for 8 weeks or so. I'm hoping sometimes with a broken foot you can heal a little bit quicker than that, but realistically, he's not going to be back till April. That's when our real serious hard run of games is going to be. So it'd be great if he is back for that. But yeah, we're going to be out without him for a few weeks. And, although we eventually beat Blackpool, at 1-0 down, 20 minutes to go, that was someone, would have been perfect to come on and cause him a real problem. So yeah, that's a real, real blow for Scott Parker because, as I said, he's the only other real centre forward we've got at the football club. But I'm hopeful about Ryan Christie. I imagine Friday's probably too soon, but from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound as serious as they first thought. So again, hopefully he's not too far away. And the mysterious Ethan Laird back in full training as of yesterday, a 4 weeks of training ahead of him, but mysteriously again still not available probably for Friday according to Scott Parker. So we still await to see whether the mysterious Ethan Laird is actually with us or not, because it'd be great to see him on the football pitch because I'm really excited about him. So hopefully he'll be available soon. But yeah, but that's what the squad's for. And as I said earlier, the likes of Marcondes and Lowe, who weren't even in the squad against Birmingham, were both hugely influential against and Blackpool. So yeah, that's what we got the squad for. Right.
Underneath that hoodie you're wearing, have you got your Scott Parker cardigan because it's predicted 11 time? Should we do it?
On.
Let's do it. Let's do the predicted 11 for this game. So Aaron didn't waste too much sleep on this predicted 11. We'll just go home, shall we? It's the same 11 that started against Blackpool. Mark Travers in goal, Jack Stacey right back, Phillips, Kelly centre back, Zamora left, Lewis Cook. Aaron was happy to see a Lewis Cook performance. And do you know what? We know that Lewis Cook possibly can have these performances. We just want to see him a little bit more. Todd Cantwell, Philip Billing ahead, Jadon Anthony from the left, Dembele from the right, Dom Solanke looking for 20 league goals up top. Just a quick summary then, Aaron, unchanged.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will be the team that Scott goes with. Just a couple of, I guess, questions around that. I mean, Gary Cahill, I think, will be fit again for this Friday. I thought Nat Phillips was brought in to be, the first choice centre-back pairing, and against Birmingham and Blackpool, he's been straight into the team ahead of Chris Mepham and Gary Cahill in the Birmingham game. So I expect him to keep his place. There were a couple of times he gave the ball away, but his defending for me was excellent, and I think he'll clearly be in there. Jordan Zamora, not necessarily anything against him, but Leif Davis was the player of the month. He was probably one of the players throughout our bad run and against Bournemouth who came out with any sort of credit at all. And actually, interestingly enough, he came on for Jay-Z on Saturday, to maybe get, Jay-Z wasn't having a huge amount of luck getting down that wing. So Leif getting down the wing, putting the ball in. I think Jay-Z will start. I still think he deserves that spot for sure. And I love Jay-Z, but Leif can count himself a little bit unlucky again. He wasn't even in the squad for the Birmingham game, remember? So I think he's a really good option to have, and he's grown into that position. And for me now, great to see him sign permanently because I think he's really proved himself. And as Lewis Cook, as you said, I think I've said in previous shows, and a bit frustrated about Lewis Cook because he's been playing in a position which is not his natural position, or certainly not a position he's best at. And I think a lot of us grew frustrated because he's not that dynamic, attacking, creative midfielder who's going to drive with the ball forward. So perhaps it's been a little bit unfair on him, but playing in the position which I think is probably the only position he can play in this team, he was outstanding, as I said, against Blackpool, to the extent that we didn't really miss Jeff. And that's full credit to Lewis Cook. So absolutely, much as I love Ben Pearson, as I said, Lewis has to keep his place. I thought he was probably in the top three for man of the match for me. Absolutely outstanding. And as I said, I'd love nothing more than him to prove me wrong and keep performing like that, because when he's like that, he's fantastic. But yeah, I think the rest of the team picks itself, assuming there's no other injuries, hopefully, fingers crossed. The rest of that team picks itself, and another chance with Dembele to really get at his fullback.
There you have it. That's our predicted 11 for this game versus Forest. Do you agree? Disagree? As always, let us know in the comments. Now, Aaron, both Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, we've shared quite a few players over the years, haven't we? Quite a few players. And Lewis Grabham, Harry Arter, Lee Tomlin, Lee Camp. Any more you want to throw in there? Bar one. Don't throw in one yet. Any more?
Oh, gosh. I've been thinking over the years. Apart from the one I think you're probably talking about, nothing else springs to mind, but there's probably quite a few.
So there are two players now coming back home. Sam Surridge, it didn't quite work out at Stoke City. He's now at Nottingham Forest, so he'll potentially start or be on the bench just like he was at the weekend. And a certain Steve Kirk will be back at Dean Court, but in a different shirt. Do you know what, Aaron? There's not many players that can go from a club to a club and probably still be respected to a point that if we had a song for him, we probably would sing it in the North Stand, East, South and West. But there's going to be a lot of respect for Steve Cook. It's not his testimonial, but I don't mind if he wants to maybe try and have a dive-in save if he wants to. But it's going to be great to see him back at the stadium, albeit not in a Bournemouth shirt.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get a fantastic ovation. You get players over the years who come back, and there's not many actually. There's always been some acrimony with other players, or a bit nonplussed about them. But Steve Cook will get an unbelievable reaction, fully deserved, before and after the game. Obviously, during the game, hopefully not too much. I saw people say there might be a gentleman's agreement that he's not allowed to play. That's clearly not the case. That doesn't happen in football, and why should it? So he'll be playing. I'm sure he'll give the inside track on some of our players, but again, the likes of Dom should know how best to play against him as well. They've trained enough together. So yeah, brilliant ovation for an absolute legend of the football club, and I'm so pleased he's enjoying his football again.
I can't keep that image on the screen for too long, so took it straight off. Right, score prediction time, Aaron. First of all, though, this was an interesting stat. I like to put an interesting stat into these match previews. Do you know that Nottingham Forest have scored 8 goals in the 90-plus minutes this season in the league? To me, I don't know about you, that sounds quite a lot, and it almost sounds like we need to be on it until the final whistle.
Yeah, that means Kaye will be coming on to a back seven, I think, for injury time. Look, you have to. As we proved, we've been involved in 3 or 4 games this season where either we or our opposition have scored very late goals. So yeah, we've seen it time and time again. You have to stay switched on. I'm still going to back the boys. I think it'll be a very difficult game. I don't think a draw will be a disastrous result simply because of those extra 2 points at Blackpool, plus other results again last night with Blackburn and West Brom drawing, and QPR losing at Barnsley. You know, we've afforded ourselves a little bit of a gap, and a draw actually would mean that Nottingham Forest themselves stay that distance behind us and don't claw back any points. So I'm not saying a draw will be a fantastic result, but I just don't think it'll be a disaster at all if we do draw the game. And a part of me says my head probably is saying the draw, because I think, as I said, they are a fantastic team. We're missing obviously a couple of very important players as well. But I am going to back the boys. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory, and to keep that four wins in a row and 6 out of 8.
And if that comes in, that was the same scoreline on our first away day of the season when David Brooks scored on that day. So that would be a great score. Do you know what? I hope Aaron's scoreline comes in. I'm going to be there. I'm going to get behind the boys, but I'm going to go for a 1-1. That's just me trying to maybe be a little bit realistic with potentially, the injuries we might have. But, we've got the capability of winning the game. But I go for a win nearly every single week. So I'm going to go for a 1-1. I hope Aaron's right. And anyone else who predicts a win, I hope you're also correct. But if we don't lose the game, that is a bonus. Aaron, it's been great to have you on this match preview. Thank you very much.
Pleasure as always. And let's hope we roll on.
Absolutely. Thank you to you, the fans, for checking out this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, your predicted 11, your score predictions. We read every single one. Remember to subscribe. We've gone past 800, so let's keep moving on. Hit the like button as well. That really does help. And we will see you if you're there at Dean Court. If not, follow the team how you can on any platform and continue to watch the content, because we'll have a match day vlog at some point over the weekend. But from me and Aaron on this video, we will see you soon. Up the cherries.
Up the cherries.